Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. We're going to take a look at the Ruger Bearcat. Now this is one that I purchased used not too long ago. It's a 22 long rifle, single action, 6-shot pistol or revolver. I guess pistols are, well, while all revolvers are pistols, I guess not all pistols are necessarily revolvers. But anyway, this is a small frame 22 long rifle. It's significantly smaller than, say, the Ruger Single Six, and we'll do a comparison here in a little bit, but let's first do a check here. Now, this is the loading gate. You open up the loading gate, and that's how you load these particular pistols. And like the older type, you do cock the hammer back, and that releases the cylinder to spin, so you can look at every single cylinder hole to make sure that there is no round in there. And if you needed to, the ejection rod is right here, and you push that through, and you would unload rounds that way after you fired them. Now the Bearcat is like I said, it's probably the smallest frame 22 single action revolver that I know of, at least the good ones. This one, as I said, I got it used, and it's in relatively good shape. The only thing that isn't is the front sight blade. It looks like the original owner, it may have gone through a couple of owners, but whoever had it at some point decided to take a file to this. And I assume what they were doing was they were trying to sight it in for some specific ammunition. I put a little paint on it originally, but then I took the paint off. It just wasn't sticking on there very well. A lot of times I'll put a little bit of paint on my front side just to make it easier to see. So the Bearcat is usually known for its very pretty cylinder, and the cylinder does have some engraving in there. So let's take the cylinder out just so you can get a better look at that. To take the cylinder out, you have the base pin. This is the pin here that keeps the cylinder in place, and this is the latch, and there's a little spring in there that you can push down to take the base pin out. So let's do that. You push, I'm gonna push it in with this finger while I pull the pin out. So pull the pin out, and I think you can pull the pin all the way out. Open up the loading gate and cock the hammer back a little bit, and you can take the cylinder out. And that's one way you can do that when you want to really get a good cleaning in here, if you want to clean the forcing cone or anywhere around there to get any powder out. And I may have to use another little flashlight here, but on the Bearcat, this is really pretty engraving. Let's see, yeah, you can see it there. And there's an engraving of a bear and some sort of a big wild cat, probably a mountain lion. Look, it even says Ruger Bearcat there. So very pretty indeed. And I'd always wanted to get my hands on one of these, so when I found this one used, I jumped all over it. They make some that have adjustable sights now, after many years of having this in production. And I don't know exactly when. This is an older modeled pistol as far as they've been around for a long time, but I think they were produced for a while. They stopped production, then they started production again, and then the model with the adjustable sights is a relatively new model, and I think I saw one once in a store. I've never seen one since again, so they must have sold out. They must have been really popular. It's tough. I like adjustable sights on 22s, especially because 22s tend to be so finicky, but there's just something about the sleek look of, your old single action that just has the rear integral notch and a front sight blade. So we check again. You can see that this is empty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's completely empty. Cock the hammer back. You can see there's the integral notch, and then you just line it up with the front side blade. So what I'm going to do is I want to test it and see what ammunition works best out of it. And I've got a few set up here. I've got the Winchester Super X that's done well out of some of my single actions in the past. Just the CCI Standard Velocity, which is usually a standard. I got some Norma Tac, some Aguila 38 grain, and some Super Extra 40 grain as well. So just to see how they do, see if it likes any of them. Before I head out, I'll just try to do a little bit of a comparison with a Single Six, because this particular Bearcat has a 4.2 inch barrel, and most of them do. There is a couple of other models out there that are harder to come by, but this one's 4.2. They make them in blue. This is stainless steel. Obviously, it has very pretty hardwood grips. And it's about 24 ounces in total. And as far as the barrel, I believe it's a 1 in 16 right hand twist. If you compare it to the Single Six, you will see that the Single Six is noticeably larger. And I'm going to put them side by side here in just a second. A couple of other differences. Well, Single Sixes more often than not come with a ramp front and adjustable rear. There are some Vaquero style models that have, you know, the just the notch and blade like the old-timey revolvers do, but most of them will be this way. Most of them are convertible as well, which means that they have a 22 long rifle and 22 Magnum cylinders available when you purchase them. The Bearcat, although I know that there are some companies that maybe get them to shoot 22 Magnum from the factory, I believe they just shoot 22 long rifles and they don't offer any sort of 22 Magnum swap cylinder in there. Other differences is that the way Single Sixes load is you open up the loading gate, and opening the loading gate, actually, that in and of itself opens up, or excuse me, unlocks the cylinder so that you can go through there and load or unload. Same thing, you know, you got your ejector rod there to eject rods, rounds out, and you know, you got the base pin and latch. So otherwise, they're very, 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 very similar. So let me place it down here, and then I'm going to take a little top view from both of these so you can get a better appreciation for the size difference. So as you can see here, I mean, there's significant size differences. Now this here is a Single Six that has a 4.26 barrel. These are a little harder to find. I think the 5.5 and 6.5 inch barrels are more common. So that's why I really like this one, because it's a little smaller and easier to wear in the holster. But even so, you can just see the beefiness of the frame compared to the Bearcat. I mean, the Bearcat is significantly smaller when you put these two side by side, even though they have about the same barrel length. This one just slightly longer. And that's also evidenced by the weight. This is a 24 ounce pistol unloaded. This one is a 36 ounce, so 12 ounces more just in frame weight. And strangely enough, they also have different barrel twists. This being a 1/16 right hand twist, and the Bearcat has a 1/14 right hand twist. I don't know if that's to aid in shooting 22 Magnum, but there you go. That's the differences between them two. But enough of me talking about shooting this pistol. Let's go ahead and head out there to the range, put some rounds through these guys on paper, and see which group the best. Well, here we are at 15 yards. We're going to shoot the little Bearcat. First up on the docket, Standard Velocity 22 CCI. Let's see how this pistol likes it. Okay, very nice. Hitting high and to the right. It seems like a decent little grouping. So next up we'll try the Aguila 22. What is this? The Super Extra Hollow Point 38 grain. I don't know if it's because of the coating that they put on here, but it was a little hard to push them into the cylinder. But I don't think that should affect function. Okay, let's see how the Aguila 38 grain does. Oh, very nice. It's hitting, grouping about the same, hitting in a much different spot, hitting almost center, slightly low and to the right. So right now that seems to be our front runner. And I guess we'll stay with the Aguila, and let's go ahead and try the 40 grain copper plated Super Extra. Let's see here. Okay, we got 6 rounds loaded up. Wow, low and to the right. And there's that Aguila smell. That's 6 rounds. And this is that grouping there sort of exemplifies why this is important. Why? When you get yourself a nice 22 pistol, rifle, whatever it may be, you should really try to find a few different loadings for it and put it on paper and see how they hit, especially one like this that has fixed sights. I mean, this one I can't, well, other than trying to add some weld or something to this front sight, like some silver solder or filing it, there's not a whole lot you can do to adjust the sights. So before you start doing that, it's always good to first, you know, put a good amount of rounds through the barrel. Make sure you've seasoned it in. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I swear if you buy a pistol brand new, within the first 100 yards, the point of impact starts to shift a little bit. So, you know, put a few rounds through it, and then pick at least, I'd always say try to pick as many as you can, but at least 4 to 6 different types of ammunition, different weights. See how it does, because it may be that there's a specific weight that hits almost center of aim, and you don't have to monkey with it anymore. Although now that I'm looking at it, it does look like maybe one of those Aguila's 38 grains hit low. But anyway, let's go ahead and now we will try the Norma USA Tac-22. Now the Norma is another 40 grain. Let's see where it hits. Low and to the right as well. Yeah, not too low. Seems like it just started drifting right there, but so far the Aguila 38 grain seems to be doing the best. Now we're going to try the Winchester. This is another 40 grain. You know, I have some American Eagle 38 grain stashed, so I'm going to grab some of those out and see how they do, because since it seems to really be preferring that 38 grain, at least right now in this shoot, it seems to be preferring that 38 grain. I want to try another brand of 38 grain and see if it does the same. But for now, let's try this Winchester Super X. Winchester Super X is something I grew up using quite a bit. It was always one of my favorite ammunitions. But let's see how it does out of this little Bearcat. Well, it's doing pretty well out of the Bearcat. I grouped them really well, just slightly to the right of bullseye. So let me run and go grab those American Eagle 38 grain, see how they do. And now I'm going to try this American Eagle 38 grain copper plated. Now, unlike the Aguila that was a hollow point, this should just be a round nose. Let's see here. Yeah, it is just, no, it's a little hollow point as well. Okay, well, let's see how it does with another 38 grain hollow point. Okay, so let's try this last target. Okay, not bad. It seems to be hitting the 38 grains. I mean, at least as far as to the point of impact being the point of aim, 38 grains seems to be what it prefers. So, fun little test. I'm obviously going to have to put a few more rounds through this before I decide what I'm going to finally do with this guy. I had considered sending it back to the factory to get the front sight changed out. I was able to find a spare sight. I guess the factory Ruger might have some, but online I was able to find a blued version of this sight, and I thought, well, that might actually help to give me a little bit of contrast. But the way it's hitting right now, I don't know. I'll probably have to put a little bit more ammo through it before I decide what I'll eventually do. But anyway, Ruger Bearcat, beautiful little pistol. I mean, they are small. This is a great one if you have a little holster to put on. It's not going to weigh you down. It is suitable for smaller hands. Not suitable for very large hands, probably. But they are beautiful, beautiful pistols. And if you have your hands on one, whether it be a new production, a new production modern one, or one of the older classics, they are definitely beautiful pistols, heirloom quality guns. So as always, thanks for watching. This was a lot of fun. I hope y'all are staying safe, having fun sending some lead down range, and I will see you in the next video.